Hi friends, welcome to A Lovely Yarn Podcast. My name is Amber. I am so excited to be here today. It is, October something. What is it? October 8th. It's Tuesday, October 8th. And I have so many things to share with you today. I am getting my laptop booted up right now because I'm going to talk about my autumn cast-on plans, in addition to showing you everything that I have finished or am currently working on. But I have lots of plans. They're very autumnal, so I hope that you are interested in that, because today here in Western Pennsylvania, it is very sunny, and we woke up to 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold. So I am definitely, the last several days, actually the last couple of weeks, it's been feeling very fallish here. And thankfully I went through a bit of a knitting slump, but I feel like it's coming back. I'm kind of waking up in that area. I don't freak out when that happens because I know that it's going to pass. I think probably most knitters go through knitting slumps. I don't think it's just knitters. I think it's any creative type. You know, I know my son, who's really into music, he goes through little slumps and then he gets re-inspired by something and then he gets right back to it. So I think that's pretty common with creatives, and I never worry about it, but I always enjoy and really get excited when the desire to create with my yarn and needles comes back. So today's episode is going to feature my finished objects, some things that I just recently casted on and I'm working on that I'm really excited about, then my future knitting plans, my future cast-ons for the fall, and these are things that are like, I mean, there's never a guarantee, but I am very excited about casting them on, and I have the yarn and everything. And actually the yarn is all except for one sweater is already wound up into cakes, and so it will be ready to go when I am ready to start those. And then I want to talk about a few other random things at the tail end, and I will also be announcing the winner of the pattern from my special episode that I did, I don't know, over a month ago now. So yeah, that'll be at the end. We're just going to focus on the knitting content right up here up front. So again, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you all. I just want to say, because I don't say it every episode, but thank you for those of you who donate to the channel through Ko-Fi. I don't even know how you pronounce that. I still don't know. Those donations are always greatly appreciated, and I use part of that money to do the giveaways and stuff that I do here on the channel. So I appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to start with what I'm wearing. This is my quintessential fall sweater. This is the one that I pull out at the beginning of fall, and it's just like, fall is here, so it's time to pull out the sweater. This is a pattern by Jennifer Steingass. This is called the Arboreal sweater, and it is knit in shepherd's wool. I knit this in shepherd's wool. I think that's the name of the yarn. I better check that real quick. I meant to grab my extra skeins, but I don't even know that I have that actually. From Stonehenge Fiber Mill. It's shepherd's wool yarn. I bought this at the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Festival years ago. This is actually my first Colorwork sweater that I ever did, and I actually highly recommend at least this sweater from Jennifer Steingass. I've knit multiple Colorwork sweaters of her, and I feel like they all the ones that I've done are actually, I would say, pretty much beginner friendly for a Colorwork. I mean, Colorwork, not knitter beginner friendly, but if you want to attempt to knit a Colorwork sweater, I feel like hers are a good one to start at. So yes, this is Pumpkin is the orange color, and I will put some just video in here of me wearing it so you can see. And then this is just like an off-white color. I don't know what it was called. I don't even actually know if I have any of this white color left over. I had one skein of the pumpkin. Maybe it's called roasted pumpkin. I'll try to put that in my show notes down below if I can find that extra skein. But I bought this, like I said, at the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Festival years ago, and I will say that this yarn is extremely soft. It's not itchy at all to me, but that is very subjective, but it's not an itchy yarn to me. However, I think it's 100% merino. Let me see if I can find here what it says. Merino, yeah. So it is merino, so it's very soft. And so because of that, you do get some pilling. I mean, it doesn't bother me though. I just take my depiler to it. And it's actually not looking too bad right now, but this is the area where I would get more pilling right here because of the friction moving the arms. I think the only thing I did differently with this pattern, and it's been years since I knit this, so I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure the split hem is not included in the pattern. I just put the split hem in, and you will have seen that in the video here to the side that I put a split hem in on the bottom hem of this sweater. And it's a rolled neckline, which I feel like a lot of her sweater patterns are rolled necklines. So yeah, this is a very cozy sweater. In fact, it smells like campfire right now because I wore this out Friday night. We had a campfire this past weekend and I wore it out around the campfire, and then I just kind of hung it up to air out, and it still has a very faint campfire smell to it, which I personally love. I know some people don't like the smell of campfire, like stale campfire smell. I don't know if that's what you want to say, it like the smell of it lingering, the lingering campfire smell, but I actually really like that. It doesn't bother me at all. So I'm pulling up my cue here in my Ravelry so that I can go over here at the end what I want to talk about, what I'm going to be casting on. But before I get to that, I want to talk about my finished objects. And I have this beautiful sweater. So this, actually, I need to pause because I need to grab my notes on this sweater because I did a lot of different things. I did not follow the pattern. I just modified it a lot. So let me grab my notes and I will return. Okay. So MaryAnna sweater by Folk City Fiber Studio. I've been working on this. I actually started this last September. So that's how long I've been working on it. And I just finished it up early last week and blocked it. So my colors, my yarn is this gray color, is the main color is Cloudborn Fibers Highland Worsted Gray Heather. And then the contrast color is Barrett Wool Co. Woolens in the old fashioned color, held double with a silk mohair, like an orange silk mohair that I got from maybe Cozy Posy Yarn Co. I think maybe that is. I don't know. I can't remember because it's been so long and I don't have that tag with that merino, or I mean that mohair. So I cast on with a size 2 needle because I didn't have a 3 or 4 available at that time to do the ribbing, and it worked out really nice actually. I actually prefer a nice tight ribbing. I mean, it's not so tight that I can't get it over my head, but I feel like it makes it look a lot neater. And then I started knitting the size 1, so a 92 stitch cast on. And then I started working the Colorwork chart, and I've kind of talked about this, but it's been so long since I started this that I'm just going to do a really quick run through. I'm not going to tell you all the modifications, but the biggest one that I made was I started doing this Colorwork chart for the yoke, and I had to cut it short. And I'll try to remember to put a picture in here of the original because it was actually, do I have it here? This is a free pattern, by the way. So you can see that my yoke motif it has way less leaves in it. And it doesn't have the other little things, the other little details at the bottom. The reason I did that is because I thought if I knit just as the Colorwork chart shows, I'm going to have a really deep yoke. And after my Birkin disaster, that has been ingrained in my head so much. The yoke was too deep and the shaping on the yoke was too, I don't even know. It was such a funnel neck sweater. And I've talked about this before. I ripped out the Birkin sweater. But anyway, I just was like, I do not want a yoke that is super deep and it's going to cause that funneling potentially. So I just modified the chart. I stopped it early, and I did some modifications to the motif just to make it look decent in doing that. And I did all kinds of things. I'm comfortable enough. I've been a knitter long enough that I'm comfortable with modifying patterns. I know that not all of you are, like some of you maybe have just been knitting for a short time, so you don't feel comfortable with that. But I'm to the point in knitting that I'm comfortable modifying patterns, and with sizing, I'm comfortable in trying it on as I go, which is why I actually prefer a top-down knitted garment, because it's really not possible to try on a garment that you're knitting from the bottom up. I mean, I do knit those, and when I do that, I use other sweaters or tops that I have to kind of lay out and compare, but I prefer to knit top down for this very reason, because I can modify the size, decrease, increase stitches, whatever I need to do to make it fit my body. So to really, I mean, I have lots of notes on this, but I'm just going to sum it up. I did a lot of size modifying as I went. Okay, so I'm not even going to get into that, because it's very personal. This sweater has been very personalized for my body. But where I left you guys last time is this sweater was a lot longer. It was probably, let me see, did I have it written there? It was way longer. It was way longer than this. I can't remember how many inches longer. But as we were driving home from Maine, I ripped a bunch out. And I ended up ripping back even further than I thought it was going to, because I decided I wanted this to be more of a cropped sweater to wear over dresses mainly this winter. And so it's definitely, and you'll see in the little video I put here to the side, it's more cropped. I don't know that I wouldn't really wear this with jeans unless I had like a little cami on underneath, because I feel like if I raised my hands up, my belly would show, and I'm not comfortable doing that. So yeah, ripped back the body quite a bit, shortened it up a lot. Last time I spoke to you, I think I had one arm already started. Yes, I did, because I wasn't doing the decreases as the pattern had written it. Well, I ended up ripping that arm out, that sleeve out, and I followed it exactly to pattern, did all the decreases, and then did my hem. And I cast everything off, or no, all my binding off was done in pattern. So rather than do like a tubular bind off or anything like that, because it is 2x2 ribbing, and I know that you can convert things, and I've done it before, but I just didn't want to deal with it. And so I started doing the binding off in pattern, and I thought it's plenty stretchy enough. So yeah, we're good to go. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that I don't think it's very noticeable, which is wonderful. And my daughter Lily and my future daughter-in-law Jordan and my friend Danielle, I showed it to them, and they were all like, it's hardly noticeable. But I do have a little bit of a sad story about this sweater. So I block this in Euclid. That's how I do all of my garments. Let it soak in a bowl with the wool wash, and then I normally take it and put it in my washer and spin it out so it gets nice and dry, and then I'll block it. Well, I had let it soak for about 2 hours, and then I pulled it out and threw it in, did the spin, and then we left. And we didn't get home until probably 5 or 6 hours later. And I pulled it out and brought it upstairs here to block it on my blocking mats, and there was bleeding. So this orange, I don't know which one. I don't know if it was the mohair, or I have a feeling it was probably the Barrett Wool Co yarn, because it was a thicker yarn and it was more saturated than the mohair. It bled. And let me see, maybe, yeah, you can see it right there. See, right here. It's all through the yoke, which it doesn't really matter because that mohair gives a halo so that the bleeding kind of blends in. It's on the collar. It's down this sleeve over here. You can see it. And then it's also on the back. So I think what happened is it was laying like this in the washer for multiple hours, and anywhere that this orange yarn was on laying up against the gray, it bled onto there. I was super sad. In the scheme of life, it's not a big deal, especially with everything else that's going on in the world when you compare it to that. But I was bummed about it, and I tried to get it out. I used some stain spray and did some other things, and it didn't, I don't know, I don't even think it lightened it at all. But everyone is assuring me that it's hardly noticeable, and so I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to wear it and not worry about it, because this sweater, I think the thing that bummed me out the most is that I had tailored this to fit my body so perfectly, and then when that happened, I was like, well, that's very unfortunate, but I'm still gonna wear it. But that was the little tale of woe. Like I said, so little in the scheme of life, but that happens sometimes, right? So I think that's all I'm gonna say about that one. Let's move on to my next one, which I don't really have a lot to talk about either, because this is another pattern that has been going on. I'm trying to find it in my, trying to find the pattern info in my knitting journal. Maybe I didn't even make a page for it. I don't know. Guess I didn't. Okay, so this is another finished object, and this is an Italian summer scarf by the Italian knitter. She designs, I think she mostly has like scarves and shawls. And she also has a podcast, which I will try to remember to link down below. But I started this a while ago. This is definitely an old whip, and this was one of the things that when I did like my whole whip episode, I was like, no, I got to finish this. This is actually more of a spring, summery, not hot days of summer scarf. I mean, I could totally wear this now, but it's cotton. It's 100% cotton. It's Quince & Co. Willet, and it's in the color Hauser, which is this really pretty golden yellow. So it's not a huge scarf. It's just a small little, oh, actually this is, I like this. Like, it's really cute. It's really cute. And I think because of the color, it's perfect for fall. But it's not going to be extra, it's not going to be super warm. It's just going to be like a light layer, because even having this on here, it actually feels cool on my neck. And it must be the cotton and the fact that it has a lot of eyelets, so that makes it really airy. So this is also a free pattern on Ravelry, which that's so funny. Both of my finished objects were free patterns. So yay, go get those patterns and give them a shot. But yeah, this was really easy to knit. It's actually easier to read your pattern. Read the pattern or read your knitting with this pattern than it was with the Sophie scarf and shawl that I also have previously knitted. This is very similar in the technique of the Sophie scarf, but I feel like because of the eyelets, it's easier to read, like when you need to do your increase or decrease because of the ridges in between the eyelet sections. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything else about this other than it was really easy, pretty mindless, and it'll make a nice lightweight scarf. Okay, so I have one active whip that I'm going to talk about. I have multiple whips that I'm working on, but like I have a pair of vanilla socks that I talked about last time that's really boring. I haven't really gotten much further on that, so I'm not going to talk about that. But I have this one, actually I have two whips right now that I want to talk to you about. I have other ones, but like I said, not talking about those today because they are not to the point where I feel like I have much to say about them. So this is a beautiful embroidered bag by Olivia of this Handmade Life. She had sent this to me as a gift at one point. She hand embroidered all these little flowers on here. So in here I have I just love this pattern. I love these socks. Okay, so I'm sure that a lot of you have heard of Summer Lee. She is a big sock designer, and I had never knit any of her patterns before. I'm pretty simple when it comes to my socks. I do a lot with Hermione's Everyday Socks. I use that pattern a lot. I've actually used quite a few patterns from Olivia of this Handmade Life. She has a lot of beautiful sock patterns, some that are free, some that are very reasonably priced at like $3 for each pattern. But back in, I think it was the beginning of August, Summerly Designs came out with this club called the Colorwork Cuff Club. And I had seen multiple podcasters talk about it. And in August, she released 4 members of this club. She released 2 sock patterns, and one of them was just so beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. And it tempted me to join the club, which was at that point, I think it was like $12 to join. And you get basically you get a year's worth. You get a basic sock pattern. Then you get, every month, you get at least 1, sometimes 2, Colorwork motif charts to knit. So you use the basic sock pattern, and then you can interchange these Colorwork charts. So this was the one that I absolutely adored. It's like these little flowers on there. Well, I had been thinking about that, and I had seen other people knit these socks, and so I finally caved last week. And I joined that club, and I think it was like $12.99, around $13. So it wasn't that much more than when it was on sale. And I started knitting my own little pair. These are so cute. They make me so happy. They make me so happy. Okay, so these are knit in Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in the Farmhouse Heather, which is this beautiful deep chocolatey brown color. And then this coral color is Nature's Palette, which is 100% merino yarn. So I'm just going to do it in the cuff, because I'm not going to do that. I didn't want to do the toes or the heels in it because I was afraid of the durability of it, since it's 100% merino wool. And this coral color actually was sent to me by one of you lovely viewers multiple years ago. Sent me quite a few skeins of it, and I haven't used it yet. So I'm using it in these socks, and I am loving this color combination. Now this is of course not blocked because I'm still working on them. I flew through this chart. I started it in the evening, and I had the whole Colorwork chart done. Now I do want to preface this by saying that the basics, so I messed up because I thought, okay, I do the cast on for my foot measurement with using the basic sock pattern, which told you to cast on 64 stitches. But then, so I did that, and I did all my ribbing, and then I went to do the Colorwork, and I noticed in the pattern it said if you're knitting a size medium, which is what I was doing, you need to cast on these amount of stitches rather than the 64 that the basic sock pattern. So if you buy this, or if you have this and haven't actually knitted from it yet, look at the specific Colorwork chart you're doing before you just cast on the basic sock. Because then I had to add some stitches, which it wasn't a big deal. I'm just saying, like, I just want to tell you guys that because it'll save you a little bit of finagling then when you get to the Colorwork chart. But these are so cute. I love them. I love them. I will make more. I'm typically not a fan of Colorwork socks, especially in fingering weight, because when I knit Colorwork with fingering weight, I feel like it doesn't fill in the gaps a lot of the Colorwork, especially when you're using like the nylon based sock yarns. If you were using 100% wool, then I feel like it would. But just for the cuff here, for this little bit, it was fine. Like I enjoyed it. I don't think I'd enjoy doing a whole foot of Colorwork. I feel like that would just not be enjoyable, even though I really like Colorwork. So yeah, so I increased for this up to what I needed for the chart, and then I decreased back down to 64 stitches for the rest of the foot because I have skinny feet, and I do not like baggy socks. I like my sock to squeeze my foot. And I'm already knitting this on a size 1. So the pattern called for a 1 for the sock, with you knit on a US 2 for the Colorwork portion. I usually knit on size 0, and I usually cast on 60 stitches for my foot. So casting on 64 on a US 1, I was like, no, I need to go back down to the 64 and not stay where I needed to be for the chart. So yes, I guess that's all I have to say. Another thing is, if you're thinking about this club, joining this club, I would say it's worth it. It's 13, is it $13? I think it was like $12.99 or $13.99 US dollars. So far, August, September, and October, we've gotten 2 different Colorwork charts, 2 different Colorwork chart options for each month. So it says you'll get like 1 a month, but so far we've gotten 2 a month, and that may change. But like for October, the one motif was these little ghosts, and then if you're not into, I mean, they were cute little ghosts, but if you're not into like Halloween and creepy things like that, she also gave an option for little apples. So yeah, and I can't remember what last month's was, because like I said, I just purchased this last week, so I got 6 Colorwork charts all at one time, but this was the one I was most interested in. I will definitely knit other ones too. I'm just kind of excited. It's like a surprise in my Ravelry box, you know what I mean, like every month. So that's really cool. Okay, yeah, so that's all for this, I think, right? I don't need to talk about anything else with that, right? Yeah. Okay, now my next recent cast on is very new. Like I casted this on last night. And it is in this. This is another, this Handmade Life. I have so many project bags from Olivia. Okay, so with this new cast on, I also want to share this book. So this pattern is actually not on Ravelry as an individual pattern yet. It's actually a part of this book, Memory Lane. These are patterns by Claudia Quintanilla. It was put out by Lena Publishing, just released, and the subtitle is Embellished Knits to Cherish. So if you are somebody that's into like delicate knits or embroidered knits or beaded knits, this is a really good book for you. So I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of what's in this book, just skim through it. This was actually, I do want to put out there, full disclosure, Unit Toronto actually sent this to me as a gift, and asked me if I would like review it on my podcast. So full disclosure, never want to be like weird about stuff like that or dishonest. But I was really excited. They also had sent me a couple of patterns before the book even got printed so that I could start it if I wanted to. Like, I was able to get in and see all the patterns in the book before I actually had the book and pick a couple of patterns. So I had picked a couple that I potentially wanted to knit, but I never got around to casting on until last night. So I am knitting a sweater called Tekla. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Let me show you a picture of it from here because I literally have such a small amount done. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's beautiful. So the body of this sweater is knit with fingering weight and mohair held double, and then the sleeves are knit with 2 strands of mohair held double, and then there are little, here we go, let me see the lace in the sleeves. So it is just so feminine looking and beautiful, and this is the name of it. And so I casted this on last night, and I actually had yarn for it all ready to go. I had it caked up and everything, just hadn't casted it on. So I have look at this beautiful blue. This was dyed from my friend Jody of Flower Hill Fleeces. I'm trying to think. No, this was like a one of a kind. She did not, I don't think this is one of her regular colors. She doesn't really have she's really not doing the hand-dyed yarn anymore. She's focusing more on her farm yarns. But I got this off of her last year. Anyway, so that is what my body is going to be held double with this Drops Kid Silk. It's a little bit more vibrant. Not quite as vibrant as the camera is showing though, but I'm holding these two together, and this is what I'm getting. Let me get this. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. That is so beautiful. that color. Yeah. This is, this color is actually quite matches my eyes. I don't know if you can tell. Typically this is a good color on me, so I'm excited to have this. I'll be excited to have this in my wardrobe. But as you can see, I've hardly gotten much done. This is just the back. So with this particular sweater, I got mohair in my mouth. It is knit top down, and you cast on for the back first, and then you knit that down until where your bottom of your armpit is, or the sleeve would attach. Literally got mohair in my mouth. Anyway, and then you go back and you pick up for the front, and you knit the front, and then you eventually join in the round and knit in the round, and then you go back with your 2 strands of mohair and you pick up and you knit your sleeves. So right now I'm just working back and forth. I just finished working in some short row shaping, and yeah, but it is, this yarn together is just so stunning. That blue is beautiful. This is going to be a beautiful, very feminine sweater. It's going to be a fancy sweater with the pretty mohair sleeves with the lace in it, the lace motif. I'll show you another picture in a caramel colored yarn, just so you can get an idea, another idea. So yeah, that is what I'm doing, and I'm following it. I'm using the needles that it calls for. I'm knitting a size 3 in this pattern, which is for a 36.5-inch bust. But I thought about going up to the size 4, which is like a 40 and 1/4 inch bust. But this sweater is meant to be worn with 0 to 2 inches of positive ease. And I actually have a 37-inch bust, but if I measure up here, it's a lot smaller. I think it's like 35 maybe. So I've been learning that I prefer, when I knit garments, when I knit sweaters, I prefer to actually pick my size based upon my upper bust measurement, like taken right under my arms. I don't know why that is. I've heard other people say the same. So I decided to go with the size 3 rather than the size 4. So hopefully that works out okay, and I don't regret that decision, but that is what I'm doing for now. So real quick, just to talk about this book. This is, basically this book the patterns in this book was inspired by Claudia's childhood in, is it El Salvador? Yeah. So she based these on just memories and nostalgia from her childhood growing up in El Salvador and the different things in her life as a child. And there's some, if you like delicate knitting and embellished knitting, this would be a wonderful book for you to invest in. That pattern is called Maria. Let me show you a couple of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I love this one, but I didn't have the right. I think this is knit with all mohair. No, it didn't have enough of the fingering weight yarn in the color I wanted to do, but isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So that's Colorwork, and then it's also beaded. Now, I'm not a fan of beads in my knitting. I mean, it looks okay, but I don't want to mess. It's too fiddly for me. So if I would knit this, I would just leave the beads out and just knit the Colorwork motif. But yeah, I needed to have like 15, I think it was 1,500 yards of a light fingering weight, and I didn't have that. Yeah. What else do we got here? Oh, this was another really azul Colorwork. Really pretty. I think this is all mohair. There's a lot of mohair. Maybe all the sweaters are mohair. Here, this is another one I really liked, because you know me with Colorwork. I mean, if you've been around here for a while, you know that I really like Colorwork. That is another one. Orleano. That's Orleano. And, oh, here's another one. This is that's embroidered. And also beads. But again, I would leave the beads out. I'm not a bead person. but that is embroidered. There's multiple sweaters in here that are embroidered. This is really fancy. I wouldn't wear something like this, but that is beautiful. I'm just not, that's a little too, I don't know. Maybe I would. It just wouldn't be, I don't think it would be something that I would wear very often. Oh, this was the other one that I really liked and I got the pattern for. This is called Olympia. So it's really basic in the front. Like it's your basic comfy sweater, but then it has this beautiful, where's it at? Here we go. I gotta do this so you don't give anything away. But you work this ribbon into the collar. So a ribbon ties on the back. I thought that was so sweet. There's a cardigan. Yeah, just trying to give you guys a feel of what is included in this, because I know it's so nice when you can see what is in a book. Here we go. Here's another. I think this is also embroidered. Butterflies. So yeah, there's some basic things in here, but then there's also, like I said, a lot of embroidery and stuff. I'm not going to show you all the patterns because I feel like that would take a long time, but I showed you those few that I really liked, and this is now available. I know it's available on Amazon, and I got, like I said, Unit Toronto actually sent this to me as a gift. So thank you very much for sending this to me. And I will keep you guys updated on my Tekla because I feel like I'm going to go through this really fast because I'm really excited to finish it and to wear it. So let's talk about my future knitting plans because I am done talking about my whips, at least the ones that I want to talk about right now. So first up is I have this really fun sock yarn, which is by A Busy Life. I love fall. I've had this for several years. I work from my stash a lot, so it's hard for me. Like I am not, if this is your first time here, you're not going to really find stash acquisition segments on my podcast because I don't really feel the need to do those. I don't want to cause people to want, I mean, I know that any podcast, because I'm talking about patterns and stuff, so there's going to be a degree of, oh, now I want to knit that, or I want that yarn, but I don't intentionally do that, so I don't really do acquisition segments, and I honestly don't even know if this yarn dyeing company is still in business, because I've had this for multiple years, and if they are, I don't know that they still make this particular colorway, which is called I Love Fall. It is a Donegal tweed, so it's got all those neps, and it's just, I've been waiting. Every fall I think I'm going to cast these on and do a pair of socks, and then I haven't yet, but I caked it up. That is the first step. That is often the hardest step, caking that yarn up. Is it just me? Am I the only one that does not like caking up yarn? I'm like, if only it were all caked. And I know that like Wool and Company here in the United States, they will cake up your yarn for free, no additional cost. So that's always a good thing. But you know, usually when you buy a skein of yarn, it's coming and you're going to have to cake it up. And I have a Swift and a yarn ball winder. It's not like it's a hard thing to do. It's just an extra step. When I'm inspired, I just want to get the yarn and needles and get started. But it is caked up now. Now I just need to find the perfect sock pattern for this. I thought about just doing a Hermione's Everyday Sock, but then I'm like, I always do that pattern. I just finished that pattern for a pair of prayer socks that I knit last month. So I think I want to find another pattern. I just don't know which one yet. And I'm going to look at Olivia because she has multiple free patterns. I want to see if I can get a pattern that I don't have to pay for, or go back and look in my Ravelry and see what sock patterns I've already paid for and go from there. But if you have a sock pattern that you absolutely love and you'd like to share that, the name of it with me, I will look into that as well. So this is a fingering weight yarn, and I'm also, I will do a contrast. I will do contrast colors for the hem, toes, and heel, but I haven't picked that yarn out. I just need to go to my mini skein stash and find that. But that is the first thing. Okay, now let's move on because these next projects are bigger projects. They're all sweaters. And maybe I'm feeling a bit too ambitious, but I don't know. We're going to just go with it. That's why I said this is not a guarantee that I'm going to be knitting these. But these are patterns that, well, one of them, I've had the yarn since last October because I purchased it when we were in Emerald Isle at the Salty Sheep Yarn Shop. So let's talk about that one first. So that pattern, and I'll be showing the patterns over here on the side so that you guys can see what it looks like. The first pattern is the Cottongrass sweater, like pullover sweater by the Petite knitter. Let me get it pulled up so I can tell you a little bit more about it. And I just finished the Sonder sweater by the Petite knitter. Loved that pattern. So now I've decided I like the Petite knitter patterns because I feel like they're really easy to follow. I had no problem following that pattern. I think that her color work, she does a lot of color work. I don't know that that's all she does, but the things that I'm drawn to are the color work and sweaters, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. So this is the Cottongrass jumper, and I actually am going to be, it calls for a DK weight yarn, and it comes in sizes extra small to 5XL. So that's wonderful. It's here in the United States, it's around $10 for the pattern. So it is a little bit more, but this looks like one that I will actually knit over and over, just like my Sonder. I enjoyed that, knitting that sweater so much. So this is knitted top down, and let's see, 17 sizes it says. Yeah. Okay. So this is the yarn I bought to knit this with. And this is the Scout, Kelbourne Woolens Scout. It's 100% wool, 274 yards per 100 grams. And this is Sunflower Heather. Perfect fall color. And I'm going to do this as the main color. And then I have just, again, Scout, but this is just a natural. This is the natural color. I'm going to do this for the contrast color in the yoke. I haven't decided if I'm going to start with the yellow or start with the white. And if you look at the picture, hopefully I still have it up here, you'll see what I mean by that. Like some people I noticed started with their main color up here and then switched into their contrast color some point before going on. Most people just did as the pattern shows, and yeah, I have to decide that still. But this is a really beautiful pattern. I have the yarn for it. Of course, I need to wind it up into cakes still, but I have the yarn, so I'm really looking forward to knitting that. And then the next one is one that I talked about in my transitional fall pieces episode that I did. Was at the beginning of September. It is the Campus Vest by Aimee Sher, and I bought this the day it was released. Like as soon as she released it and I was online, I purchased this because I had told the story before, but I had been at TJ Maxx and I had tried on a vest very similar to this that was knit out of like an acrylic yarn, but it pretty much looked identical to this vest. It was gray, and I was like, this looks so cute with jeans. And I just put it on as like a tank. So it was cut so that I could wear it without any shirt underneath it. It was just like wearing a tank basically. And it looked so cute with the jeans I had on. But then I was looking at it and the buttons were these gaudy yellow metal buttons, which I know I can change out the buttons, but I'm like, and then I'm like, this is acrylic. And then I was like, I could totally knit something like this myself and it be just so much better. So I left that vest at TJ Maxx. And then Aimee Sher released this pattern and I bought it right away. And I actually have yarn already caked up for it. It's the same yarn I used in my MaryAnna sweater, which is the sweater I just showed you. So this is how much yarn. I definitely have enough left. This is called Cloudborn. Right? Cloudborn. I already forget. We were just talking about this. It's 100% fine Highland wool, and this is the gray heather. Now, Cloudborn Fibers, I do not think that this is in production anymore. I had purchased this on Craftsy back when they still carried yarn. Do you guys remember when they did that? Like, they carried yarn and crafting supplies. It wasn't just knitting supplies, but all kinds of crafting supplies. And so I had purchased this as a kit for another sweater, and I ended up not knitting that sweater. So now I'm getting 2 projects out of that yarn because I have my MaryAnna sweater, and then I have this campus vest that I'm going to knit. I want to knit this so that I can wear it without something underneath, but also so that it is loose enough that I can wear it with like a button-down shirt. So I need to figure out my gauge still, and I need to figure out what size is going to work best for that. I'd really like to be able to wear it without a shirt under it because I think that looks really cute. And I think that would be good for like the spring portion into summer and the summer into fall, where, you know, it's like mid 70s so that the wool's not going to bother me. Maybe even like 70. I don't know. I have this vision in my head of how I want to wear this. So I want to make it work so it works for both of those visions. I don't know if I'll be able to actually do that, but that is going to be my goal. So that is what I'm going to be casting on, actually probably next, because I have the yarn already skeined up and ready to go. Okay, I have 2 more things to show you. My next one is another sweater, and this is this is a chunkier sweater, so it's going to be a warmer sweater. It is a pattern by Ann Bensel. It's called the Super Saline, and it is knit with an Aran weight yarn. I will put my inspiration photo up for the colors that I chose, and I actually bought yarn last winter to make this sweater, but never casted it on. I am not going to be using, let's see, what does she use in her pattern? She uses Jipard Garn Puno and Jipard Garn Kid Seta held together. I actually just bought Drops Air. I like Drops Air. I've knit a lot of things with Drops Air, but these 2 colors, this is going to be a fun sweater. This is going to be like a fun knit. One that I don't usually pick such bright colors, but hold on. Gotta get this all out. Okay, this is gonna be my main color, and it is color 2, color 02. So, main color, okay? And then my yoke is going to be done in this bright blue, which is color 37. It's so bright and fun. Is going to be a really fun sweater to make and to wear, and hopefully I can wear it. Hopefully it's not so hot that I can't wear it, because we've talked about that before, that stage of life I'm in. Now I will say I only ordered 2 of the contrast colors, so I really hope that that's going to be enough. I picked this yarn out specifically for this pattern, so hopefully I took into account the yardage for the yarn that is needed, because this has like, what is it, 164 yards per ball. So hopefully that will work out, and hopefully I will have enough. But it is knit, let's see, it's charted, Colorwork, circular yoke. Is it knit bottom or top down? Yes, it's knit top down. Yay, because I love top down. Okay, so that is that sweater. That is going to just be so much fun. And this one, I don't even have to cake up because I love that. It's already in balls. Okay, and the last thing that I'm going to be casting on is a pair of socks. And this is actually going to be a gift for somebody. And this is self-striping yarn. So these are just going to be plain vanilla socks. I'm going to pick a contrast color out of my mini skein stash. I just haven't looked at that yet. This is PK yarn. And Pamela Kirschman is the dyer behind this. This yarn was dyed using the Rim Trail in Winter as inspiration. So I'm not sure where the Rim Trail is, but it's somewhere in the United States, I'm pretty sure. It is a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon yarn. And yeah, this is just going to be a super simple cuff down vanilla sock, like I knit my socks. So yeah, go check her out on Etsy. I'll link her shop down below. Okay. So those were all of my current knits, finished knits, and future knits, subject to change, of course. Now I have some other things that I want to talk about. So I want to show you guys this beautiful project bag that was gifted to me by Trisha of Joy in the Stitches. I was blown away by this. I was so excited when she reached out to me because I love patchwork. And this is a patchwork bag. So look at how cute this is. There's her little tag on there. It has the box bottom. And this is the back. Look at this. Separate compartment to put your little notions in. And then let me get opened. Lots of room in there. So let's see if I can, let's see how much yarn I can fit. So I've got these 5 skeins of yarn, DK weight. Let me see. Okay, so 4 of them fit in. I mean, I could smush this 5th one in and zip it. Yeah, I smushed it in, but if you don't want to smush, see? Okay, there we go. But isn't this gorgeous? I am a sucker for patchwork. I wish that I was a sewist, but I'm not. I'm trying to learn more about how to use my sewing machine and how to sew things. But the problem is I have limited amount of creative time, and when I have it, I just want to spend it knitting. So maybe someday I will learn how to sew better. But in the meantime, I so appreciate the abilities of other people who know how to sew, including Trisha. This is an absolutely wonderfully made bag, and it's so fun, and I think it's very fallish looking. I think these colors, these deep jewel tones, are really beautiful and very fallish. And I know that Trisha has more of these in her Etsy shop, so I will link her Etsy shop down below if you would like to go purchase one for yourself. But Trisha, I want to just thank you so much for sending this to me as a gift. I really appreciate it. It's very humbling when you get gifts as a podcaster. At least I find it so. I know that Sarah of It Is a Sarah podcast has talked about that too, because it's just weird. It feels weird and awkward, but yet very exciting at the same time. So it's weird emotions. So I'm really appreciative of this beautiful project bag. It's going to be perfect for one of my newest cast-ons. So thank you so much, Trisha. And if anyone else is interested in getting a bag like this, she has more. And I think they're like identical to this one, or at least maybe not identical, but like the same fabrics, just maybe not in the same, same arrangement. Yeah. Next, I want to pick the giveaway winner for the transitional knitted garments episode that I did last month. So I haven't actually picked that episode winner yet, and I just used my laptop to do so, and I will put a screenshot of it over here to the side. But there were 656 comments, and I just used commentpickers.com. They have a special thing where you can have an unlimited amount of comments, and you can pick a random winner. And the winner came up as Manisha Don Coos 4666. I have been contemplating to knit Salty Day sweater. It is so beautiful. So I'm going to put that over here. If you are the winner, please contact me. Down below is my email, which is alovelyyarn@gmail.com, but it is linked down below. Just please send me an email on there and send me your Ravelry username, and I will go ahead and send that pattern over to you if that's the one that you still want. And thank you guys all for leaving comments and liking that video. That really helped it to get out there into the world. Yeah, so let's move on from that. And one last thing I wanted to talk about regarding knitting was that I just put out a poll on Instagram yesterday in my Instagram stories. It might still be up there actually, because I think I did it a little bit later in the day. But I asked my knitting friends on Instagram what they would be most interested in as far as seeing a special episode. So the options were cardigans that I would love to knit, variegated yarn patterns, and colorwork sweaters. So the winner by far was the cardigan episode. So I'm going to be, I've already actually accumulated, I've already been researching for all 3 of these episodes. I just haven't formally like written anything down. I've just been researching for the last couple of months. So I'm going to be doing the cardigan episode. I don't know if I'll get to it next week, but soon. And then I'm actually going to do all 3 episodes. I will just do them in the order of popularity as far as the poll went, which is the cardigans, and then variegated yarn. I feel like variegated yarn can be tricky because it can be hard to find patterns that really make that yarn look special and good. So I've been doing some research for that because I do have so much variegated sock yarn right here that I just was doing research for myself, and I thought maybe other people want to hear about this. And then I'm also going to do a colorwork sweater episode. That'll probably be in the winter though, because I don't know, colorwork sweaters and snow and winter just really just jive in my brain. So those episodes, I plan on doing all 3. It's just that I chose their popularity as far as when I was going to do each episode. So that is it for all the knitting content, and I'm pretty much going to wrap it up here. But I do want to just acknowledge that here on the eastern side of the United States, there have been some very rough times. I don't know how many of you are familiar. I think most of my viewers are from the United States, but I know I have some overseas. And Hurricane Helene just came through last week and completely devastated and tragically wiped out whole towns, mountain towns in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, I know parts of Georgia, and I think even as far north as West Virginia. Parts of those 2 states were also impacted, but I think that Florida was also impacted because that's where the hurricane made landfall. I'm sure even south, like all these areas, I mean, West Virginia is literally right below Pennsylvania. So it impacted so many states here on the eastern side of the United States. And it's just been so tragic, and it's been so heavy on my mind as far as many other people here in the United States, I'm sure. And we're doing what we can to help, which is very limited. The church that we attend sent a relief group down Sunday. And so our church has been collecting donations and stuff. And then they're taking monetary donations as well as like physical donations they took down to a church down there. They're working with the church in the area in Asheville, actually. So I wanted to recommend Samaritan's Purse for any of you who are wanting to help, but you don't know how and you don't know a reputable place to donate through. Samaritan's Purse has a huge relief program, like disaster relief program in place, and they have had that in place for years. So they're often one of the first groups into areas that are devastated by natural disasters. And so they had a group in there right away. They take that money. That is an organization that I trust to donate money to. That's actually where our church is sending the money that they get in donations. They're sending it to Samaritan's Purse. And I don't know if they're sending to any other. I think it's just to Samaritan's Purse. But, and then also, if you are somebody who believes in prayer, just to be praying, it's just so devastating. There are still so many people missing. And I didn't want to make this podcast sad or depressing, but it's just the state of what's going on here. And so I also want to just acknowledge that for those of you who might live in that area, that you've really been on the minds and the hearts of our family here. And, you are not forgotten. And then we have Hurricane, is it Morton? Gosh, I can't even remember what it starts with an M. But that hurricane is due to hit the Tampa side, the Gulf side of Florida early tomorrow morning. So the East Coast is getting beat up right now with weather. And this new hurricane that's coming is predicted to be a very strong hurricane. So yeah, those of you who pray, just pray for the people here in the United States who have been affected by this. I know there's natural disasters that occur everywhere, you know, and it's, yeah. But I just wanted to take time to acknowledge that because it's a big thing that's happening right now. And I don't, you know, it's one of those things where you have to live your life, but you also don't want to forget what's going on that's tough. And so that's why I wanted to take a moment to do that, to talk about that. And having said that, I do not mean to, I just want to say that I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to watch and like the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, if you would kindly do that. It's interesting. I can see my analytics and stuff, and over half the people who watch my videos haven't even subscribed, which is so funny. So if you like what you're seeing, please consider hitting the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, mostly because that helps put this video out there. And that is something that, you know, most podcasters want. They want their videos to get out for other people to see. So again, an awkward thing for me to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And I look forward to getting this information together for the next video, the cardigan video. Hopefully I have that out within the next week or 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in that. You can find my Instagram link down below, as well as my email and my Ko-Fi account, and all the information from everything I talked about should be linked down below. If I forget anything, just reach out and I will edit the video description to include that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time.